Hello, today we are going to be taking a look at Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a web-based CAD software, computer-aided design. When we look at Tinkercad and how it will relate to the ISTE standards or Bloom's taxonomy, we can take a look at these few examples. For Bloom's taxonomy, under remembering, there's a lot of listening skills. The first part of the whole class that we bring in Tinkercad, students have a lot of listening they need to do because we will introduce all the tools, how they work, how to put them together, how to download them. And there's also actually getting in and logging in and creating an account. Applying, we have choosing the correct tools, placing them on the build plate, getting everything set so they know what their project should look like. And then under evaluating, there's experimenting. We want the students to get in to play with the tools because there's a lot of powerful things that this can do and they can have a lot of fun with it. And then of course, there's the whole building with creating. There's a lot of building they're going to do and create all kinds of different projects for 3D printing. When we look at the ISTE standards, the one that stands out the most is students using technology to seek feedback that informs and improves their practice to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. The kids are going to have a great time using this program, and they get to build really cool things. Now let's start with Tinkercad. The first thing you're going to want to do is join and make an account. Students will come into here, they will select their territory, and then of course their birth date. If the students are younger than 12 years old, they will need to get parental consent before they can log in. As a teacher, there are ways around that. As a teacher, you've already created your own account, so let's go ahead and sign in now. Here you'll put your username, sign in with your password, and you'll get to your home screen with all the projects that you've done previously. To get a student who needs parental verification, we're going to go up to Teach. When we go to this page, we'll get a code. This code will give the students so they'll be able to log in and bypass the age restriction. So now let's go to a student that needs a bypass code for the age verification. So here's a student. We're going to paste the code in there, get approval, and now the student is going to be able to create designs and start working with CAD and doing 3D printing. Now we're going to start building in Tinkercad. We're going to come up to the top where it says Create New Design. Click on that. When we first get in, you see your work plane. This is the area where the students would do all their work. They'll bring in different shapes, text, they can even draw on here. Anything that they put on here will fit on the print bed of our 3D printers. Off to the right, you have all your different shapes. Boxes and cylinders, spheres, text tools, there's even hearts and stars. All the students need to do is click, drag them in, and they can start designing. At the bottom, you have the edit grid. This is the first thing we have the students do. So they'll click edit grid, change millimeters to inches, because most of our students are more familiar with inches than millimeters. If you click update grid, students are going to be all set. So let's start playing with some of the tools. We'll bring in a box. You bring in a box right to the center, and it's going to bring you a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch block. You can use the white blocks to bring out all the angles of your block. If you choose just the black dots on the side, it will just do that one or that one. students can design pretty much anything they want to do with this. By holding the control, clicking and moving your finger along the trackpad, you can circle all around your object. The first project we have the students do is to create a simple keychain. It's a very simple project our sixth graders do, and it actually gets them something 3D printed within the first couple days of class. So we'll use the block we already have out there. 1 inch is way too thick for their keychain, so we have them bring it down, usually to about 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch. We also make sure that the students keep it not too large. 3 inches by 2 inches is actually perfect. So after they create a base, we try to have them do something like text in there. So we bring in our text tool. We come up here where it says text. We'll delete that. And then we just start writing whatever we want. They can be their name or their number from a sports team. Anything they want. We tell them not too many words because the more the words, the smaller the writing, and it's harder for the 3D printer to print that fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do our school mascot, the eagle. So after we get that, we can see that our writing is way too big for that square. So I'm going to hold Shift, click on the white square, and bring that in. That's going to make it so it doesn't get distorted. I'm going to use my arrow keys to move it over and to move it down. Still pretty big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So right now, we have eagles and it's in our base, but the problem is it's not going up very much. So I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. And I would like that in the middle, so I'm going to use my arrows, drag that right to the middle. That looks perfect. I'm going to click and drag everything so everything gets selected. Up at the top, there's a group button. I'm going to click that. So now my base and my writing is all one solid piece. If I hadn't grouped it, if I did that same thing, you can see they're two separate pieces. Now, of course, our keychain now needs a hole where we can put the keychain through. I like my kids to be a little more creative. And of course, one of the favorite shapes is the heart. So I'm going to create that. I brought in my heart. I turned it into a hole. Make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to make it taller and put it right in my keychain. I'll put it towards the middle. I'm going to select everything, hit group, and you can see my eagles with my heart hole is right there in the middle. Now the words don't have to be 3D like that. We're going to ungroup those. Let's say that I want my eagles to be a hole. So I'll click on my eagles, change that to a hole. Now there's going to be a couple errors in this. So I'm going to select everything, hit group. You can see that now my eagles is a hole just like the heart. But our problem is right here with the E, the G, and the A. those pieces are going to come right off, and those will be complete open, and that's not going to look good. So there's ways around that. The easiest is we'll undo that. We'll take the eagle, and with that black triangle, we'll lift it up just a little bit. So you can see the bottom of my words are halfway through my base. Now if I select all and group it, my eagles are still through, but there's base under it, so everything will be solid. So now, if the students are happy with how their keychain looks, there's two things they need to do. First, they'll come up here. There's always weird names to all the files. All you need to do is click on that. The student will save it as their last name, and then they'll download it. So they'll come over to export. They'll choose STL, which is the 3D printing file format, and it will go to their downloads. This file they'll email to their teacher, so they'll be able to print it out. So that's the basic rundown of how Tinkercad works. Some of the questions that your students are going to ask are, do I need to save this? Everything gets saved automatically, so they don't need to worry about it. And everything gets saved to their desktop, their dashboard, right here. So all of the projects that they ever do will always be right here. They also don't need to be on their own school laptop. This is web-based, so they can log in from any computer anywhere they want. Tinkercad is incredibly easy to use and extremely user-friendly. It is perfect for the younger students, but also great for those students who may need a little differentiation in their learning. But overall, I love this tool, and so do my students. I hope you do too.